name is Cypher Morrison, and this is This Week in Car Audio. Tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in. This Week in Car Audio. Tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in. We'll be talking about bass, talking about chips, talking about rings. You ain't got them, zip your lip. You got a problem you haven't found, check your grounds. The show about to start. Tune in, 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 tune in. This Week in Car Audio. Yeah. Tune in. This Week in Car Audio.
Welcome to This Week in Cardio with your host, the Judge, Doug Stockton, co-hosted by your internet sensation, superstar himself, Mr. Jeffrey Fernandez. What's up, Jeff?
Nothing much. It's funny you mentioned that. I was up for a role on a local television show that's shooting out here in Texas, and
Really?
sadly, I didn't get it because they never called me back. That whole industry is, don't call us, we'll call you, and I never got a call back. But hopefully there'll be something coming up pretty soon. But yeah, I'm doing okay. How are you?
Oh, just fine. Yeah, I didn't bowl well this weekend,
Oh, bummer.
so it is what it is. But anyway, so I'm sharing away here. I saw you were live last night or this weekend. What was going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah, so I decided to do kind of follow in Chris Gregory's
Uh-huh.
footsteps and host the base race and top dog only event. I had it on Saturday and Sunday, which was pretty fun. It's just fast, as opposed to
A
a
full event.
full event, all the formats.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, man, we just got done setting up and we're already bracketing. So it was fun and fast in that respect, but just the action, the intensity, it was still there, and I didn't have to deal with anything else like clamping or the globe and stuff like that. So that made it a little bit more fast and fun, I guess.
So who is your superstars? Did Dana take all the money and everything again?
It's funny you mention that because it's weird. So it's base race and top dog. Essentially, it's like two similar formats. And so one person on Saturday, Eric Hansen, one
Uh-huh.
of our sponsors,
Sponsors. Yeah.
he actually won his class in base race and in top dog, which
Oh.
wasn't too, far-fetched. It's possible that happens a lot. But then on Sunday, Dana ended up winning her class 20s and top dog. So I wonder if they kind of go hand in hand. That's not going to always be the case though, because there was some close rounds where it could have went either way on well, man, Saturday, Eric was like on another level. He just beat everybody in top dog that they put in front of him. He never left his parking spot, his lane. So when that happens, he ended up getting like 10 wins. He didn't leave his lane the whole time. On Sunday, there was some strategy going on that you don't usually see with top dog. So Dana, well, no, it was Dana and Eric. They were going kind of back and forth, but they tied, and when they tie and get that bonus time,
Yep.
the winner's going to take half the points, and that happened early on, and then that lead was just never reached and never caught up. So at the finals, it was actually Dana and Eric, and Dana was so far up in points that she just kind of, I don't want to say purposely tanked it near the end, because there was no
You
way
mean
Eric
she
was going to
played the
catch up.
game?
She played the game, and I think some people were upset about that. But I mean, that's uh, if you're not playing that particular way, that style or that game, you're really not playing to win. You're just playing to, I
Have
don't know
fun.
what to call it, just to have fun. But
Yep.
Yeah, so it was fun. We hope to do another one probably the first weekend in August. 'Cause it was so fun, and there wasn't. Luckily, we had it Sunday night, so it didn't carry on to the evening where people had to go to work the next morning and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
Eric Hansen posted in
Oh,
chat,
speaking of,
says she played the game very well. Speaking of our sponsors, I'd like to thank our sponsors for today's podcast. We got Stolman Transportation LLC, we got Badass Sounds by Steve, and eBox Design and Install. That Eric Hansen himself. If you guys get the opportunity, please support the guys who support the stuff you like to do. All right, talking about winning. Well, we got two-time 129.9 world champion, and I was talking to Josh Tay too, and he goes, "I'm gonna call out Mr. Caudell." We got Mr. Chris Caudell right here.
wow.
So I
You
heard you
guys,
got called out.
yeah, I got I think it was Monday. I got a message from Josh. He said, "Hey, you're gonna compete on August the 10th." So we've talked, and
Oh, wow.
so actually I won't compete on August the 10th. So after the show over the weekend, the cars get tore down, and I'll start my preparation to get ready for finals. So
So you will be competing August 10th or not?
no, I will not be.
Oh, he's gonna be so
Damn.
disappointed.
Well, I told him, I said, here's the deal. Of course, we've got the August 10th show and we've got the September 21st show.
Right?
Right.
And I said, here's the deal. I said, you win on August the 10th and we'll see about September.
Okay. Well, you do
So,
realize if you don't participate, you don't get an opportunity to try and beat the boss.
well, he better beat me first then. That's all I got to say.
So, yep. Though, hey, only the winner gets an opportunity to try and beat the boss. So you got to be the winner.
Well,
Um,
my thing is as far as Josh, even if I don't run in September as well, I mean, we've got finals and maybe we'll meet up in the final round again. You never know.
You never know.
yep. He was excited about that. I forgot what he said his issue was. Disconnected something or didn't realize something or something. I don't remember what he said. But yeah, he was disappointed in himself at World Finals. It was a personal mistake why it didn't go longer.
Okay.
So,
I got you. Yeah.
because he just like you, he could have went for days, or at least felt that he could have went for days if he didn't
Right.
make those mistakes, right? So
And that's the thing is the main thing with finals is being prepared and making sure everything's dialed in, making sure everything's ready. And obviously things sometimes happen that's out of your control, but yeah, I mean, with finals, you want to make sure that you leave nothing untouched. You're ready to roll when you get up there, and when the screen says go, you better be ready.
that's right.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, you know, you don't have to have your own vehicle for to compete on the 10th.
No, and I told him one thing I did tell him. I said, listen, I said tearing the car down. I said, but where are the locations at? I said that's a 4 hour drive for me.
Oh, really?
Uh, yeah, so it's not a close show to Bowling Green. So,
hmm
but if I can make it, I will. I know the 10th I won't be there for sure, but the 21st, not September, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Because I think if that's right, the 21st is the weekend before finals, isn't that right?
No, it'd be
No,
2 weeks or 3 weeks
2 weeks.
before finals,
Right.
something like that.
Okay.
Because that's the 21st, 22nd. The 22nd's the last day for points.
The cut
Okay.
off, the points
All
cut
right.
Yeah, points cut off 22nd. That's why we chose 21st. The 22nd, I've already got a 3x show, and it's got to be an all-inclusive show and whatnot.
I
So,
got you. Everybody getting in at the last minute.
yep. Well, got to get our points right because we got to show that there's a reason to have a West Coast World Finals, right?
Right.
So that's the important part is, if Jeffrey were to have a Dallas location, you have a Tennessee location, you guys got to show that you deserve to have a remote location. And I mean, there's a lot of work into putting one of those together, right? There's some expense, and with all that stuff combined, definitely have to show that you you as a group value it, and and then the way you show you value it by participating.
Well, I think most of the guys and gals in the Tennessee, Kentucky area, I think almost all of us have our qualifying points for every class. So there's a few people that still like a few here and there, but for the most part, everybody is qualified.
Jeremy's asking where the August 10th location is. We will be in Reno at Palomino Tires. It's right down the street from Baldini's. And it is the last day of Hot August Nights in Reno. So if you want to see some cool classic cars, I think they have 3,500 cars there for that. They have sock hops, drag races. It's the 50s again in Reno. So
that'd be a cool environment.
It's a very cool environment. So if you guys haven't been to there, that's definitely something really cool. He says, how far is that from Vegas? I believe it is 8 or 9 hours. Let me check real quick.
North.
Well, it depends on how you drive, right?
But can you go just straight up?
Yes.
You have to go around some mountains?
Well, no, you have to go through.
You have to go through them, okay.
Hey, if you fly, you just go over.
Exactly.
Let's see. Does this one here? Welcome. All right. Hey, Siri, how long of a drive is it from Reno to Las Vegas?
It looks like Jeremy already
6 hours and 44 minutes. Justin says 8 hours. Siri says, oh, wait. It made a clock. Well, anyway, it said 6 hours and 44 minutes. I don't think that's right. I think 8 hours is closer. Justin says he drives it all the time. He says that's a little too far. Yep, he is correct. You go through Tonopah. It's actually a pretty nice drive. The whole key to driving between Vegas and Reno is know that when you come into a town and you see a speed limit sign, there's a cop hiding at every one of those little towns. Yeah. New build is almost ready, gearing up for the Tennessee versus California. That's Joe. I wonder if that's his daughter going to be playing. What's her name again?
Gracie.
Gracie. Yeah, is Gracie playing? I heard she went boy crazy and stuff. So.
Yeah. She's a mama now.
Oh, okay.
She's a mama. She's engaged. So yeah, she grew up fast.
Yeah.
She'll
Justin,
be back in the lanes in no time.
Justin says it never fails. Yeah, those cops are always hiding. Oh yeah, see, he posted. She has a baby now.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
I think this build that Joe's doing is actually his own. He's been working on this for a little bit. So
okay.
Oh, cool.
Joel says he doesn't care how far the venue is. He's got this.
He's proved it. He's been to
Dude,
Canada, Mexico, Philippines.
Yep. Matt Holleran popping in the chat. Says, what's up, guys? So Joel's a granddaddy now. Well, but he looked like a grandpa before. So
No.
he's a little scruffy and old. So, but anyway, yeah. So that's let's see. That's August 10th. You're not going to participate, but you are getting ready for World Finals. So, do you have two 129.9s in a row?
yes.
So you're back-to-back world champion 29.9 base racer.
Yeah. This year will be my third.
Are you the only person that's had back-to-back base race championship?
No, so Matt Holleran has done it last year and the year before as well on 49.9, and I believe David McKay has done it in the 39.9. Not last year, but the 2 years before that. It's my understanding.
Okay.
I don't believe anybody has gone 3 until we do it this year.
Oh wow!
Like that.
he's already calling it. He is 29.9 base race champion of the world. Joe Mullen says back-to-back cash days also.
Yeah. So let's talk about this past
Yeah.
weekend at the Excess Power Show.
Yeah, so this was actually my second time going down there. Of course, went last year as well. Rained last year, so this year, no, actually did rain one time, but nothing major. But man, it was hot. But still a good show. We want to Excess Power. Put that show on. We want to thank them for having the opportunity to come by there. And I think there was like 6 different organizations that were set up there
Wow.
to compete. So I think that's the most I've ever seen it in one location. So everybody definitely had the opportunity to either do their normal organization, or if they wanted to look at branching out and doing something else, they could do that as well. Um, but no, it was a good show. It was a long day. We actually ran late. We had some vehicle troubles on the way there and back, but everybody made it safe and made it there safe, made it home safe. So we were thankful for that. But as far as the cash days part of that was concerned, the Cloudy Vape and Hemp, Excess Power, and Dropping Hertz car audio are the 3 reasons that we were able to put that on and do that event. So we want to thank them for allowing for putting up the prizes and the money and making it worth the while to come out.
Yes, shout out to those guys for sure. Definitely, I mean, to put on events like that, like we were talking about earlier, it you need a lot of support, not only from the car audio community, competitors as well, or even was it the vape shop that they were interested, and I think they participate in competitions as well. So it's really cool when you can kind of bring your company and kind of give back to the hobby, our audio.
Yeah. The Aaron Cheney, that's his shop, the Cloudy Vapor and Hemp, and he does compete. Him and his I think it's his son Keegan. Keegan's called the kid. He's 13. He's doing a phenomenal job this year on doing base race. Aaron does a really good job as well. And I like to see that. Obviously, you want to see kids get involved with it, and because hopefully they catch the bug and get more involved, and as they get older, promote the organization and the hobby.
Absolutely. That's I mean, or you get your wife involved, right, Jeff?
Pretty much, yeah, I guess.
Hey, my wife's got a couple of rings, but she always says I sold her car. So.
Oh, you stole her car? She was running the Honda?
No, I sold it. I sold the car.
Oh, you sold it. She had championship rings?
Yeah, she competed Mecca for a couple years.
Oh,
and won. So she's got a couple. So she's been involved with it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Was it like SPL formats or?
Yeah, we just did Street 1 class and that, something small, but I still say your smaller classes are some of the most competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Tate Daniels says this year the 29.9 base race champ will be going home to Wisconsin.
Wow. You got a bunch of call outs today.
Kind of big words there. I mean, you are talking to Mr. 129.9 base race champion back-to-back years. Not saying you can't happen.
No. Well, let me tell you, I haven't had a real good year. I started out in March doing really well, won a couple of shows, but since then I haven't been doing very well, and I was predetermined for this show that came up over the weekend, the Excess Power Show. I was like, I've got to make a statement, and so I went back and did a bunch of testing, changed some few things, and it paid off. So I was happy to be back in the winter circle again.
Yeah, and I think your pockets are a little heavier too, right?
Yeah. It was worth the trip. Let's just say that.
What was it exactly? Chris Gregory was on the show last week, and he mentioned some of the prizes. There was like cash and gift certificates, right?
So the Cloudy Vapor and Hemp shop actually donated $200 cash. Excess Power was gracious enough to donate a PSC 60 amp charger, a real nice charger, 12 or 14 or 16 volt charger. And then Cody Johnson with Dropping Hurt stepped in there at the very end and donated $1,000 gift certificate to his shop, to his online
Wow.
store.
Mhm.
So it was about $1,800 worth of cash and prizes.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Justin Stolman says he's available if somebody needs to drive a vehicle to Reno or to
Oh.
Fresno. I don't. There might be a show in Fresno, I guess. I'm not aware of it. So, Manny Lord of Bass, he's one of those guys shooting for the 129.9 ring himself. I believe he has one of those.
Okay.
So from 3 or 4 years ago, 129 guy. There's Josh Tatu popping in. About time he showed his face. But yeah, it's we really really like the part about the multi-venue. So what are your thoughts on the multi-venue? Having at World Finals or these other shows that are multi-venue. What are your thoughts on them, Chris?
Well, here's my thought process on that. Of course, like I said, I've been doing this a long time.
Mm-hmm.
My thing, I always thought about a world finals, or a national finals event is, it ought to be the best of the best. When you present your organization, you want to have a location that represents who you are. I thought Owensboro did that very well. It was a very nice location. I thought Wayne did a good job. Now I know that those venues aren't cheap. I know with the economy and stuff we've got, things are tight. But I do like having a really nice finals location to go to. But with that being said, I do understand you can't expect people to travel 1,000, 2,000 miles to come to a finals location. So with that in mind, I do understand doing the regional locations like they're wanting to do this year, like we did last year. It just for me, I just think it needs to be a nice location to represent your organization and who you are.
Okay. So,
but I also understand you want to get as many competitors as you can that
right.
can go to finals. But I know, and Chris Gregory's talked about this as well. It used to be just to be invited to finals was a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
And if you won was just unbelievable because the amount of competition. But that part of it has seemed to has gone away in the last several years because obviously organizations wanted to make to get as many people as they can, so they make points affordable, so to speak. But it also comes down to what judges in your area. For us, we're fortunate to have Chris in our area. So we don't have to drive hundreds of miles to be able to go and get points. And I know everybody's not like that.
Right. I mean, Jeffrey in his area, me in my area, we have that as a great opportunity.
I think it was out of necessity. I think Chris, being a competitor before he became a judge, was like, man, I gotta have a show. Or I gotta start doing these shows. We gotta get this going in my area. Who else is in your area?
Kramer, right?
Yeah, that's right. Kramer's in your area as well.
Jeremy's Jeremy's our 3x event judge. So, but and it's like anything else. If you don't have, just like if Chris or Jeremy decided they were done, and we didn't have any more DB drag racing events in the area, most of these guys are going to go to another organization. I mean, that's just how it works.
Right.
People that want to compete, they're not going to travel long distances to stay in one organization. They're going to start going to the organization that's closest to them.
Yep. I mean, DB Drag tried helping that out with the gas saver. Jeffrey, you remember how that whole thing works? The gas saver
option, right?
Yeah.
I think with the reduced number of points, if you choose that option, you are able to secure, I believe, an invite to finals.
Yep.
But I'll have to take a look at it again.
I think it's still a 50-point minimum, isn't it?
No.
For certain formats, I believe it's 50, and then like 35 for Top Dog, Cyclone, Freestyle.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely it's helpful, right?
Mhm.
Because you don't have to um,
Travel
put
as
as
much.
put as much travel time.
Hmm.
I will say, back in the days when Rusty had a shop, he was looking at it like, so for him to come across into California, for him it was like about a 2 hour drive, but it was 2 hours in the hills, and so Reno's at like 4,500 feet. The peak is about 9,000 feet, and then back down to sea level, right? So that's the kind of hill you have to go over in that 2 hour span, right? And the amount of fuel that he would use to do that, he said it was cheaper for him to pay the fee and host a 3X at his shop
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
to drive over the hill and compete with, hotel, entry fee, food, all
Hmm.
that stuff. It just worked out better for him just to host a 3X event right there in Reno.
Exactly. And that's the kind of thought process, like thinking outside the box, like
Yeah.
it a lot of people can say, "Oh man, I can't make it to finals. I can't get enough points in my area." Well, you can, do what Rusty done. You could do kind of like the trend is nowadays is fly to a venue and, borrow somebody's car and put up points that way. So it just seems like, it's people are running out of excuses now. So there's like multiple ways that you can get points for finals, and if it's something that you can't really see yourself doing, then it's probably nothing you're really wanting to do anyway. So and there's people out there that's willing to help out. I know there's some California guys that are wanting to do some events down south in SoCal, and they've approached me about, hey, can we just do a show? Can you? And I said, hey, I can go down there and show you everything you need to do to get
Host your
shows
own
going and stuff like
1X.
that. Exactly,
Yep.
exactly. So, pretty soon there's going to be no excuses.
I'm curious to see how this year compares as far as turnout compares to last year, doing the multiple smaller regional locations versus trying to do a few bigger locations.
Mhm.
Kind of like what you said, Jeffrey. Are you running out of excuses because we're trying to make it easier for people to get access to shows and even to finals? So it'll be interesting to see the numbers, how they turn out for attendance this year.
Yep. And what I'll say it similar to what I said before. If you guys want these closer locations and these multi venues, the way we continue to have them is by you guys participating at each one of those, and um, not just showing up. Jeffrey's been at World Finals that we've had here in California. One year he was here. We were at Chase's shop at the Alston Chassis
Yeah.
Works. We had 22 entries, 22 cars, but we had probably 110 cars sitting there demoing and doing all this stuff. Took advantage of our World Finals location for 22 cars. So how does that become feasible for a venue and and an organization, right? So you're playing for people to loiter essentially, and you got 22 people paying for everybody to loiter.
I mean, the only way I know to fix that is if your demo guys, you have to make them. I don't know how the venue's laid out, but have to charge them to be able to do it. If that's possible.
Yeah, well, we were on a public street, so it'd be
Okay.
a little difficult.
I, I mean, obviously, I would say the atmosphere was probably pretty nice with having that many cars set up and
Yep,
everybody around. But
yep,
you're like you said, you're not going to make money with doing that kind of event just having 22 entries.
yep. And don't kid yourself. Everybody that does this on the business side is doing it because they want to get paid. Wayne Harris runs DB Drag. He loves it to death, but ultimately he needs to get paid. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to do it. The
Yep.
judges need to get paid for their time. Otherwise, they'll stop doing it.
Yep.
That's just how it works. See, Joe says, finally in the home stretch of my new build. Next year, I plan on coming back to the lanes and going back to Worlds, Josh T.W.I.C.A. Someone has to give Matt Holleran a run in 49.9. Are you saying that Jimbo ain't giving him a run for his money?
Jimbo's in
Jimbo's
the
59
50s.
9.
Yeah, he's 50s.
Oh, okay. See,
But I
that's
think yourself, Chris and Matt, you guys were in the same class for a while, right?
We both run Pro Stock Trunk 5K.
Oh, that's on the DB drag side. That's right.
That's the drag
But
side,
not
yeah.
but different classes in base race, right?
Yeah, he does 49.9. I do 29.9.
Can
So
your vehicle do 49s? Can
it,
do
it
40s?
can, yeah. I mean, it can,
Oh, okay.
but I like to be easy on my stuff.
But you guys have similar vehicles too, so similar
Yeah,
setups. Yeah.
yeah, they're almost identical. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
very cool.
Interesting.
Um, hey, so I was gonna say this to the end, but I kind of want to put this out there. I'm just kind of curious. I saw this on another podcast, and we always ask at the end. We ask the question, what's your definition of basehead? But I heard something different, and I'm kind of curious on what's your take on. Um, what would you like your legacy to be in the car audio scene when you're dead and gone, and people are trying to remember who you are?
Well, obviously, I would think that a competitor for one. I don't like to lose just like anybody else does, but I want to be somebody that's gracious about it as well. My philosophy on that is I believe anybody can be beat. When you get a win, you need to be gracious about it. Uh, God gives us things, and God can take things away from us in a blink of an eye. So, if I'm successful this year, if I'm like I've been in the past, I'm going to take that and be gracious. I'm going to shake the other competitor's hand. I'm not going to be stuck up about it. I'm not going to let you believe that I'm better than anybody, because I'm not. I'm no better than anybody else is. Now, I do put in the time. I do put in the work. And I think that's one reason why I have been as successful as I have been. But I've also been doing this for a long time. But we do have guys that are starting out last year or this year in Tennessee and Kentucky that are being successful right off the bat. And I'm kind of curious to see how they turn out once they get 4 or 5 years under their belt. The one good thing, we've talked a lot about base race, this part of the segment, but base race, you can pretty much take anything you want and run it. When you get to the drag side of it, the SPL side of it, that's not quite the way it is. You definitely have to put in the time and the work. And I want people to remember me as listen, this isn't the guy that just showed up and was lucky. This is a guy that actually put the time in, and he was dedicated to it. But he was also gracious enough to know that it wasn't given to him, and he's not any better than anybody else is.
Chris Gregory says your car is much prettier though.
As opposed to Matt's, is that
Yeah.
what he's?
Yeah. Yeah.
Josh T2 says I better get a handshake then, Chris.
Hey, if I'll do if you're next to me, absolutely. That's one thing I always make sure of is, I don't care who you're running and what you think of them. And they may be the biggest jerk in the world, but at least do your part and, shake their hand. If they beat you, tell them congratulations and say, hey, I look forward to doing it again. And I think that's kind of where Josh is at. I don't know Josh. I've never met him before, but I'd say he's probably a good guy. And if we're side by side in the lanes, he'll shake my hand just like I would shake his. And if I win, he's going to congratulate me. And if he wins, I'm going to congratulate him.
Yeah, see, you just need to come out here to Autorama and meet these guys.
Hey, I've never been out west before. I'd love to come out there and spend, and I will, at some point in time, me and my wife, we were already planning on coming out there and spending a month or whatever amount of time to see the West Coast. But yeah, I'd love to come out there and come to a show and hang out with you all and see, meet, because you see guys with the way the system's set up now with the regionals, you see guys just like this, but I see you through a computer screen, but you don't know anybody until you meet them in person.
Absolutely. You look them in the eye and have a real conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
We've talked about it on the show multiple times too. You go and you break bread with somebody, it's going to give you a different respect for who that person actually is.
Yeah. One of the biggest achievements, my first show that I ever went to that I competed in was back in 1995.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
Last year, probably my most favorite award that I've ever received. I've got rings, I've got everything else, but my most prized award that I've received was Mecca actually elected me into the Hall of Fame last year, and that means the world to me because for me it's a sign of a lifetime of accomplishment. And not everybody gets that. And I was graciously humbled to receive that award last year.
Okay. And that was a Mecca thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is huge. I think that's what a lot of people that play sports, eventually that's what their goal becomes, is to get into that Hall of Fame and leave a legacy.
Well, you're added to a list of other competitors that you've looked up to through the years
Yeah.
and you've gotten advice from, and you're on that same list that they are. That's a big deal, or it is to me anyway. That's a huge deal to me.
Yep. Justin says it's all about growing the sport and being
Hmm.
as stand up and professional as they come. Josh is the same in the lanes, out of the lanes. He's a great friend and honored to run his product. So, like I said, you do definitely get a different perspective of somebody when you go and break bread with them. You sit down, you have a meal,
Yeah.
talk with these people. It's great. When we had Joe and Gracie and Pop Tart out here, I pick them up from the airport. Um, any guesses what the first thing they wanted to see was?
I'm
With
gonna
Pop Tarts, there's no telling.
There
I'm
you
gonna say
go.
Disneyland.
No, we were in Sacramento.
Oh, okay.
They're all, dude, I got to see one of these homeless camps. Where's all these homeless camps at?
What?
So we don't have that where I'm from.
My God. They live in Nashville. Yes, there is. There's homeless people all over downtown
Uh-oh.
Nashville.
So yeah. Every time Tate says every time I've seen Chris at finals, he's been a humble competitor. No doubt. Definitely, like I said, you don't get to the level. There's very few people that are very good at this sport and then have any longevity in it that aren't humble and great guys. You know,
Yes.
that's one thing. As a as general as I can be, as a group, most everybody that you see that is around for any amount of time at all are just awesome people that are willing to help everybody out. Their attitudes and their knowledge. They're number one. They're all super smart guys. That's honestly, I think that's one of my favorite things about DV Drag, is the level of intelligence of a lot of the high level competitors. Their level of intelligence is just so out there, right? And they think about stuff outside the box, and you don't get that when you work. Like I do construction all day, right? So I used to hang drywall for 30 years. I hung drywall. Yeah, not a lot of out of the box thinking at the drywall shack when you're hanging it, right? But DV Drag, these guys are trying to they're a not educated necessarily in the art of acoustical engineering, but they are living it and they love it. And they, like I said, anytime you have a passion for something, it's infectious. It shows. So, Rosa says, you have to be happy for the next one beside you, even if they hug you so hard you spill your drink. Yeah. I mean, she's another one. I mean, she goes and has a great time at the show, and whether she's competing or not, Moses is really pushing her to get out of her, get out of her comfort zone and compete and stuff. And she's doing pretty well. Looking forward to it.
You were talking about my Lori and competing just a little bit ago.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did enjoy about her I was okay with taking that step back and watching her, so I could actually enjoy it, because just like the
Yeah.
show over the weekend at Excess Power, I'm concentrated and focused on getting my car ready, being focused. But I would like to get to a point, and I'm actually kind of there now on taking a step back and going to a show and being able to go look around and talk to people and actually enjoy it. That's kind of where I'm at right now, and letting somebody else take the reins over, let them deal with the competing side of it, and go to a show and enjoy it, and go home and call it a day and not be stressed out either because I didn't win or something went wrong or whatever it may be. But I'm almost 50 years old, and there's going to come a point where I just want to go somewhere and relax and sit down and let somebody else stress over everything.
Mm.
So that's one of the things, like you were saying, the practice, and I think that's one of the things that frustrates the people that I compete against in Beat the Boss, because I don't ever practice. I do about 18 shows a year, and you know how many times I base race? About 18 times a year.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty damn good at just jumping into any car and doing a 9.9
Yeah.
if the car is available or has the opportunity to. Rosa says you got to watch out for Moses because he'll pick you up and squeeze you.
Yeah, I think he slammed somebody too. Didn't he slam McKay on accident?
Oh yeah, he tried picking him up, and McKay made him a little top heavy when he got him off the ground.
I think they hit the ground.
Oh, that was at finals last year, wasn't it?
I
Yeah, a
believe
couple of
so.
years ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
the 25th one. Yes, that was hilarious. But no, you know what? Dave McKay, another great guy. We asked we asked Dave to come on here, and because we were trying, the idea of what we're doing right now is just trying to hype up some of the multi-venue shows. So we want to get people from the east and the west and the central, and have them come and say their piece about it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dave McKay, another guy. I mean, he will literally give you the shirt off his back because he isn't wearing one most of the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't joke about that with him because he'll walk around shirtless. He don't care.
Yeah, no care. Sean Mayo popping in the chat says Team XS Power Chris Caudell in the house.
In the house.
Josh says I haven't lost a Beat the Boss in Smash yet, which is his truck. Some vehicles are a lot easier than others. I will say that to control. Oh yeah, that's what Rosa says. Yeah, he picked up Dave in Kentucky. That was all good. Justin says his first Beat the Boss victory was in Smash against me, 139.9 at Baldini's. So, but yeah, it's like I said, it's about having fun, and I think everybody, like you said, everybody wants to win. But when you guys realize that we're not paying our bills with this, and you have like-minded people doing the same thing you're doing, definitely should change your perspective of the person next to you. So I'm still trying to convince Jeffrey to jump in there and do a little Beat the Boss.
No. I'll get beat and then I'll lose all my street credit. So
Keep it while you still got it.
yeah, that's what it is. You can't lose if you don't participate. Or yeah, that's something like that. But so real quickly, Chris, so you talk about we talked a little bit about being in the Hall of Fame and being in such good company with other competitors. Who would you say would be your dream matchup? Past or present, that you would really want to get in the lanes against? It doesn't have to be in the 20s. It could be, 30s, 40s, 50s. Is somebody you have in mind?
Well, this is only my third year in BB Drag, so that kind of puts things in a little bit of perspective. But I know my first year that I started, as far as base race was concerned, it was my understanding the guy to beat was David McKay. Him and Chris
Yeah.
Gregory were the two guys to beat in base race. And
Mhm.
if you beat them, you accomplished something. Um, and I haven't really got to go against David. I don't know if I've actually ever run against David. Maybe once.
Mm.
I know I've been against Chris a couple times, but I would have to say probably David. I think if you, and I still think that way. You know, David's been doing this a long time. He obviously has the championships to prove how good a competitor he is.
Mhm.
I would say if you can beat David, you've accomplished something. Um, now, with that in mind, you know, I don't know whole lot about the guys, Doug, like in your area, because
Hmm.
I don't compete against them, but maybe once or
Mm.
twice a year. I still do believe that um, Tennessee and Kentucky's got the best base racers in the nation. But I would have to say, to answer your question, I would say if you can beat David McKay, you can beat anybody.
Ah, okay. There
There
was
you,
a competitor back in the day. Maybe it was definitely before your time that you talk about somebody that there was a person to beat. And this name came up when I was talking to somebody about base race, and Steve Mick comes into mind.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of?
Oh, I know Steve Mick. I don't know
Okay,
him
yeah,
personally, but I know Steve Mick is had a very loud van.
yes. Not
uh,
only was he a good base racer, but he was loud too.
yes,
yep.
absolutely. And I know Steve. He competed in several different organizations besides
Hmm.
DB Drag Racing.
Yeah.
But no, and of course the other thing is you got to look at base racing today versus base racing 4 or 5 years ago, and
Hmm.
it is not the same. So you got to make sure you're
Correct.
comparing
Yeah.
apples to apples. But if you're looking at a group of people, you know, from 4 years ago, well, who was a standout 4 or 5 years ago, and then look at the group now. Who's a standout now? Um, Obviously, rules change, things
Yeah.
change, and it makes it makes things different. But still, a good competitor, a great competitor will always trump a good competitor, no matter what the rules are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have a couple of guys here on the West Coast that just, I mean, every run would be tie after tie after tie with the guys. I know you weren't around then, but the way we ended up with the tiebreaker, where the random digit is, I was talking to Wayne. I'm trying to figure out a way because the guys were so good at getting 9.9. We were talking about a way to try and figure out how to um, change the number. So what I did is I took two 10-sided dice and we would give one to each competitor. They would roll it and that would become our new number.
Okay.
I'd have a red one and a black one. The black one was the digit, and then the ones place, and the red one was the tenths place, right? So whatever the red was, it'd be point. Whatever the red number was, and it'd be so. That's how we ended up coming up with it. And then Wayne was like, "Okay, well, we have to standardize that if that's what you want to do."
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because Wayne always, and I don't think he's wrong. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's wrong. It does, um, I it does have to be standardized, right? But what we did do is I got the guys out of their cars. And in front of the whole crowd, each guy would have a dice. They'd roll it on the hoods of the cars, and that's how we would get the new number. And then they would go back in their car and they would compete again. So that was a little showmany that we lost, but you know, it was definitely. I do like the tiebreaker where you change the digits. Do you guys get to
Yes.
that much very often?
Uh, well, it's funny you bring that up because
Oh,
you know
that's
I
right.
think the most tiebreakers I had ever been in before this past weekend at Excess Power Show was at finals 2 years ago against Jeremy Scroggin. I think we went 4 or 5 tiebreakers there in the final round for the championship.
Hmm.
Uh, Over the weekend, it was me and Dustin Wright in the championship, and I think we went 12 or 13 rounds,
Yeah.
Wow.
which I don't as I don't remember in the last 2 or 3 years anybody ever going that far.
Right.
And one thing I will say about Dustin, and this goes to how good a competitor he is. His car that he used over the weekend, they just bought that car and they just got music playing out of it Saturday morning of the show. So they literally put that together the day of the show, and he went multiple rounds with that car for the first time. So that's very impressive on their part to be able to do that and to actually go that many rounds on a brand new build, not having any time in it. So that says a lot for how good a competitor he is.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a brand new car. I did hear about the 13 or 12 plus ties, but
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
What would you say that helped you out? What was your key to success in beating Dustin?
So the way I look at it is anybody can do 29.9. I mean, that's just a given. You can practice that all day, every day.
Yep.
I look forward. For me, I think I have the edge when you get to randoms. But the one thing you've got to do is you almost have to look at it like you're not competing against anybody else. You've got your number up there that you have to get to.
Absolutely.
You need to be focused on that and don't worry about what they're doing. And that's what I try to do. I try to block out everything else, and I'm looking at my screen, my side of the screen. I'm focused on getting my number, hitting my number, and that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not wrong there. The only time I would back off of that is if you see the other screen flash red. And then you just back down just a little bit, stay still in your 9.2, 9.3, but don't drop out of it because, it'll give you a bad habit, is my opinion.
Yeah, don't risk it if you don't have to.
Yeah. I wish there was footage. I wish there was video of that. I know people would love to have seen that because it's like you get so after the third tie, it's random numbers, and then you can just like cut the tension with a knife. You can just hear people, with their and it's like and it's like you see a number really low, like 125.3 is your next goal, and it's like whoa, that's really low, and then to go that far, 13 ties.
I think they're at the end. I think everybody was kind of wondering. I was like, okay, is it ever going to end? Is somebody ever going to lose? Is somebody going to win? When you get that far, it's like, okay, or what are we going to do next to declare a winner? So
yeah.
Josh says, but ties and top dog will have you watching the other person's number. No,
I think there was a question asking if Chris here does top dog. Do you do top dog, Chris?
Oh, I missed that one.
So I've done it a couple times. I've actually I actually haven't really practiced. Of course, you can't really practice top dog unless you have the promoter program. But I actually came up with kind of a way to do it on just the base race part of it. So I actually started practicing a little bit to try top dog, and I was actually going to do it this weekend, but with the time crunch and doing the cash days, we didn't have the chance to do it. But that is something that I am going to start doing probably for next year. I will do start to get into top dog because I think if you're good at base race, I think you can be good at competitive at top dog if you know how the program works.
Correct.
Because it is not the same as base race.
But
correct.
It's a similar concept, so you will be able to, if you understand base race, you can learn top dog easier.
Yes. Yeah. I know we had a show here at my house back early in the year, and I did it, and I wound up getting beat. But the reason that I got beat was either the fourth or fifth cycle on it redoes the average or something. I can't remember the exact wording on it.
No, so what happens is every time you have a tie, it drops off the first 10 seconds. Yes. So on your fourth tie, you're already into your decibel levels of when you were hitting the 39.9 or whatever. Right? So
yeah, and I didn't know that because I kind of ran it the same way I do my base race runs, and I was once I figured out, I was like, no, you can't do that.
No, so one thing that I do suggest to people is if you do tie, back down to
Yes.
39.7, 29.7, whatever, 9.7, and then go back up for the last 10 seconds or 9.6. And by doing that little drop right there, it'll help you when you have a bunch of extended ties.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's each time you have that time extension to kind of maybe drop it a tenth or so.
Yep. So just a suggestion. You don't have to listen to me. I don't know what I'm doing. So
It's actually in the rule book. If you know,
oh, is it?
For people that are interested? I think there's a breakdown, and it does mention the fourth.
Yes,
The
it
fourth
does.
tie. Yeah. So
Because I went and looked it up. I'm like, I think this program's messed up, and I went and looked like, no, it's right. I just didn't do it right. So lessons learned.
Yep. So so I didn't realize you'd only been doing this for like 3 years or so. It's pretty cool. Obviously, you enjoy it. I was going to ask you about that Hall of Fame thing. So is Mecca the only one that has that, and what are the qualifications for it?
So I don't know if MECA is the only organization that has that. I started doing MECA back in 2005, and doing SPO anyway, and did that for 2 or 3 years. Then got out of it, and came back in 2017, and really got involved with it then, and started being successful. Of course, still recognize a lot of the guys that I competed with, back in 2005 and 2006. A lot of the same guys were still competing. But as far as getting into the Hall of Fame, I mean that's something that that you have to be selected for. It's not you don't necessarily go to this many shows or get this many points or whatever. You actually have to be selected for it, and I think they vote on it to nominate you into the class. So they do a class, I believe, each year. So, but it's you can go back and look, go to their webpage and look, and like one of the guys that I have a lot of respect for, Scotty Johnson. He's on that list. I've known Scotty for a long time, and to be included in the same list that he's on, for me that's a huge deal.
Okay. No, Scotty's a quality competitor for multiple years. Definitely took his knowledge and what he's been able to do in the car audio and turned it into a life, right?
Yes.
So, all that stuff is awesome.
I think they could do a movie on Scotty. Actually, if you look and see where he came from and how he worked his way up into the business, and where he's at now is really a phenomenal accomplishment on his part. It's he did it right. He did it the right way, and it's paid off for him.
Yep. We've had Scotty on here. He was a great guest. We talked about his build and his time with Pioneer and all that stuff, and so that was really cool. He brought out his books for us to see, his stack of testing books.
Yeah, I think you might be confused.
Yeah, Scotty never.
Oh no! I'm sorry, not Johnson.
I think you're talking about Scott Owens.
Yeah.
Scott Owens was Pioneer.
Yeah, Scott Owens. That's right. Scott Owens.
That's right.
Scotty Johnson's the one I keep trying to get on here, but he's always busy.
He's always busy.
So he's been telling me he's going to come on for about 3 years now. So
Scott, you look at how successful Scotty's been, but then you talk to him in person. He's probably one of the most humble people you'll ever talk to.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, he's just a great guy, and even now, I can send him a text message or call him or whatever, and he'll take the time to talk to me if I've got questions or whatever. That, a lot of guys don't do that anymore when they get to that level.
Yeah.
Yep.
I used to see him like every year at CES. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, aside from finals, but I would see him at CES. He would have a booth, and he would always take the time and stop and say, "Hey, I remember seeing you." Well, that's when I used to work on TV. I used to see you on this TV show, and and just stop and talk a little bit. So yeah, Scotty's a good guy.
Yep. Justin Stolman says tons of people that have donated so much to grow the sport, and that's what it's about. All right, guys. Hey, well, we're wrapped up our hour already. So, we've already done the what's your version of a base head, so we won't have to do that again. But so do you have any sponsors or people you'd like to shout out on here?
A couple things I do want to mention. Obviously, Excess Power, they take care of us for doing shows. They're a huge sponsor, have been for a long time now. This year, Excess Power has been phenomenal as far as sponsoring shows. I know they sponsored parts of finals as well. I mean, and not just DB Drag, but several organizations. So a lot of this wouldn't be possible without their help. Of course, obviously they're in Tennessee, so they're kind of local, which makes a big deal. Um, the cloudy vapor hemp has been a big deal for us this year. Literally, I mean, they have sponsored almost all of our shows this year, allowed us to have shows. So
We might even get them on here one of these nights.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
and they actually have a location.
Yeah.
The two locations that we're doing in August and September, that's at their location. So
Right.
that's a huge deal as well. One thing I do want to add, though, I know I talked about this the last time I was on here, was Mike Jones and his battle that he's doing. I just want to kind of give an update. Actually, Mike is doing very well. He is out of the hospital. He's still in Jacksonville, Florida. He'll still be there for a while doing recovery and stuff. But Mike, everything if you could have a procedure go as good as possible, Mike's doing really well. And I want to thank everybody that has prayed for him, that has donated, all the donations we've had for the raffles and stuff that we've done throughout the year to raise money for him. I will say, if you do get a chance and you can, they still need support. The GoFundMe page is still up. The biggest thing that I will say is send him a message. Message him on Facebook. Say, hey, just thinking about you. Hope you're doing well. Can't wait to see you out back in the lanes again. I know he's excited to get back home, to get building back on his car again so he can start competing. I know he misses that a ton. But I just want to say thank you to everybody that's helped him and Rachel in their cause and their road to recovery.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for the update. Jeffrey, what you got? Right behind you.
Oh, sorry, I was trying to look for Mike's Facebook and then put it on the comments here. I didn't realize I have so many friends that are Mike Jones.
Oh.
Just remember, there is a Mike and Rachel Jones in Kentucky, and there is a Mike and Rachel Jones in Florida. I believe it's Florida.
It's the Florida one?
No, this is the Kentucky one.
Okay. Here he is. Bowling Green. Okay.
Well, actually, they're in Russellville, which is Mike actually lives in Russellville, which is where our finals location is at this year, which is kind of ironic, but
cool. Well, I'll make sure to link his Facebook in the comments here after the show.
All right, thank you.
But so yeah, I got a show coming up. Not this weekend. This weekend's actually going to be Texas Heat Wave in Austin. And we have our friend Anita hosting a DB Drag there.
Yeah.
But the next one that's going to be technically what they call North Texas out here in the Dallas Grapevine area is going to be at Crossfire Car Audio Saturday, July 27th. It's going to be a 6 p.m. start time. We're well into the summer days. And man, I tell you, the last show this past weekend, we just started it 6 p.m. as opposed to 5 p.m. and man, that makes so much of a difference. It was a lot cooler. The breeze came out and no complaints of the temperature whatsoever. So hopefully, we'll stick with the 6 p.m. start time for sure during the summer months. But check out full details on the calendar, dbdragracing.com/the calendar. Oh, and with finals around the corner and points cut off, we're going to try to get some more shows going like we did this past weekend. So just, just follow that calendar. Also check us out on Facebook, Boom Audio Competitions. We'll also put the Facebook event page for the events there as well. So
awesome. Thank you. Rosita says, man, it was like 110 at Jay's. She's
like
wrong.
everywhere.
It was
everywhere.
116. It was. I
Summertime.
got in my car and it said 116. I was like, "Good Lord, it was hot."
Wow. Yeah.
Anyway, if you guys haven't checked it out, I started sharing some shorts or whatever you want to call them.
No
To
reels.
Is that what they're called on
Yeah, I think
TikTok?
they. Oh, sorry. I saw on Facebook
Well,
you
so
added a bunch
it
of
it
reels.
shares them when I put them on TikTok. It sends them on Facebook also.
Ah, okay.
So I'm trying to make a few of those. I got to figure out how to make a couple out of this podcast. I don't know what would be make a good reel out of the podcast, but I'm trying to figure that out. Trying to grow the TikTok. Like I said, we're trying to grow our brand. Um, One of the things I will say is it's kind of um, hitting me a little bit. Um, is next year I'm probably only going to do about 4 shows, and some DB drag
On the
judges
West
that's all.
Coast or just
No, in
overall?
general, because
Oh,
my wife will be moving, and when I go home on the weekends, I'm gonna go be with my wife on the weekends, right? So, because I'll still be here in California and she'll be in Wichita, right? So it's kind of I'm gonna miss this kind of stuff. I'm definitely still gonna be doing the This Week in Car Audio, but you know um, typically my summers from the second week in May to the second week in October, I'm doing at least 4 to 5 shows a month minimum. And yeah, I won't be doing that as much next year. So that's
hmm.
going to be weird to me. Um, so that's just some of the stuff I've been thinking about lately. But that time ain't here yet. I'm still gonna do World Finals. I'm still gonna do Autorama. We're gonna do that. I see Jeffrey just posted the GoFundMe for Mike Jones, medical
Thank you.
fundraiser, in the
Thank you,
chat.
Jeffrey.
But anyway, yeah, go guys, go and whatever it is, follow, like, or whatever it is on TikTok. I got to get to 1,000 followers, and then we can go live there also. Once again, YouTube, same thing. Need to get to 1,000 followers there to help anything out. But other than that, I am looking forward to August 10th. Um, Rosa says, come to his last Fresno show August 3rd if you guys can. For you guys that don't know, that's where I started my DB drag career as a judge. Was at Jay's Alarms in Fresno, and August 3rd will be my last show at Jay's Alarms. That'll be 24 years of doing shows
Wow.
at Jay's Alarms. So I think I only took like maybe 3 years of those 24 years off. So, stuff like that is what it's definitely different, right? Um, Rosita says it's going to be a 3X show. I don't doubt her.
Oh,
Hey,
Jay was
it's
talking about giving away $1,500 for deathmatch.
wow.
yeah,
So
it's a feat just to have a store that's open for that long anymore,
yeah,
especially store.
That's so true.
yep.
I mean, the one I worked at for several years, Postal Electronics here in town. I worked there for almost 17. They've been open since 1979.
So we had Jerry Stereo up here in Northern California, and they were open from around 77 or 79, and they finally closed because of the pandemic.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, great group of guys. He used to host shows up there. I think Justin Stolman's first show might have been up there, which there was quite a few people that their first show was up there. Yuba
And you,
City.
you hate to hear a shop close for a reason like that.
Yeah. So I think for him particularly, COVID was just a convenient answer.
I got you. Okay.
He was definitely in in the retirement mode for about the last 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
But same with me, right? What does retirement look like? Um, what does retirement look like, and do I really want to give this up? Truthfully, I mean, that's what it is, right? Because this is a passion. I'm not paying my bills with DB Drag, so it's definitely a passion to continue with it. It's something I've done for so long. Jeffrey, great friend, would have never met him without DB Drag, right? Gary Killian, awesome guy, never meet him. Wayne Harris. Where in the world would I have ever met somebody like Wayne Harris without
Exactly.
DB Drag, right?
Not even in my social circle.
Right. Jeffrey, we might have been, since I have a sister that's in the movies now,
There you go. Yeah.
But I mean, guys like Wayne Harris, like Robert Zeff. How would I have ever met these guys that are just intellectual giants compared to me? Joseph, right, with Earthquake. Yeah. No way I ever meet those guys without this awesome thing we do. So, like we say every time, bring somebody with you to the next show. Everybody invites one person. They come and attend. Guess what? We double in attendance. And that's how we make the sport grow. That's what we make it. And as everybody knows, the more people that participate, the more fun it is. 100%. Nobody wants you to come to the show and get your ass handed to you and never come back. They're going to help you out as much as they possibly can to make you as good as you can. I've never seen at a show where somebody just gets snubbed. If they get snubbed, that would be, I'm not saying it's solely on them, but definitely it probably is something you did. Because even if you get snubbed by one person, if you put yourself out there, there's so many people that are willing to help. So just ask. If you guys come to a show and this is your first time coming to a show, just ask. I mean, I say it over the microphone all the time. You want a demo? Just ask. That's what these people are out here. They were here to show off their vehicles. They love to show it off. And give them the opportunity to show you what their passion is. And once you see what their passion is, I guarantee it's infectious. So, with that being said, my next show I have is Reno, July 20th. Then I have Reno Family Reunion, July 27th, which isn't a show. But I am going to step out for an hour and a half and go bowl a tournament while I'm in Reno. And then, yes, of course. And then we have August 3rd, I believe. And then that's my last show at Jay's Alarms. So that'd be awesome. And then August 10th is the multi-venue, West Coast versus Tennessee. It will be in Reno for that one. And then, we have a couple other shows. So anyway, like I said, guys, please support the people who support the things that you like to see. We got Badass Sounds by Steve. We have Stolman Transportation. We got E-Box Design and Install. So if you guys get the opportunity to purchase something from somebody that supports what you want. Like I said, XSSPL or not XSSPL, XS Power. They put on these car shows. If you guys get an opportunity, tell them, hey, you put on a car show, you support the stereo competitions, that's why I'm buying your battery. And let those people know that that's the reason you're purchasing from them is because of where they put their money. So that always helps them put more money into what you guys like, right? Because they see return on investment. ROI. It's all about the ROI. Don't care what business you're in, right? So, but anyway, thanks guys for tuning in. We had a great time here. Thank you, Chris, Jeffrey. Same as always. Awesome job, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
But we will see you guys next Monday on This Week in Car Audio, 5:30 California time, the only time that matters. Peace. We out.